Hi, Dr. Larsen here. Welcome to the video. I have no doubt that this is going to be one of the least watched videos. I'll be surprised if this video actually gets a lot of views because we're talking about the spleen. And people don't typically think about their spleen. They think about their gallbladder. Obviously, as you see, that video is my highest watched video out there. They think about heartburn. They think about their adrenal glands. People think about their thyroid gland. Those are the more popular topics, but I can tell you that the spleen is critical. When the spleen is not functioning how it's supposed to, we see autoimmune, we see chronic conditions, we see just kind of weird things happening. Can you live without your spleen? Absolutely. You can live without your gallbladder as well. You can live without your left arm, but you don't want to. You want to make sure that this is functioning as well as it can. Now, before we get to symptoms, let's just look at some of the functions quick, just so you understand at least a reference as to what this organ actually does. Number one, removes old damaged red blood cells. So it's kind of like it's all the blood's going through and it's analyzing that blood. So it says these red blood cells aren't very good anymore. We're going to discard them and get rid of those and allow for new ones to be made. So it's kind of like a selection process that your spleen goes through. And if you don't have your spleen, this doesn't happen to the best degree, okay? And when it's not functioning how it's supposed to, it sure as heck doesn't do this very well. Number two, filters the blood. Similar process, but it's looking for parasites, bacteria, things like that as well, because the spleen is part of your immune system as well. Number three, it's a reservoir. It holds blood. It holds platelets. Whenever I see someone with low platelets, I'm thinking spleen, for sure. Platelets are important to your body for clotting and other things, and you have to have the right number of those. So if those start to drop, you know that your spleen is starting to have issues. Lupus, the autoimmune condition, that's spleen. That is a big, major factor in the spleen. So that chronic condition, that autoimmune condition, had been going on for years, decades, and it should have been picked up earlier. But that's the spleen starting to malfunction. Number four, produce antibodies, again, to infections and other things like that, because it's part of the immune system. Now again, to the symptoms, number one here we see is infections. So if you're getting swollen glands, if you're getting sore throat, you're getting other signs of infection, commonly, that means that you potentially have a spleen issue. It could be thymus, could be other things too, like any of these videos, right? But swollen glands, sore throat, infection type things, you got to think my spleen might not be working how it's supposed to. Number two is anemia. Many causes of anemia. There's iron deficiency anemia. But if you look pale, think my spleen might not be working how it's supposed to. Number three, fatigue. I see this a lot because your red blood cells. Your red blood cells carry iron, which carries oxygen. Oxygen goes all around the body, transports around the body. And if you're not getting that, you're getting fatigue. So people are getting tired all the time. Yeah, it could be adrenals. It could be your heart. It could be your thyroid gland. But an overlooked gland, again, like I said at the beginning, this video is probably not going to get a whole ton of views on it, is the spleen with fatigue. Number four, dizziness. Again, dizziness has multiple causes, but one could be the spleen. So you're not getting those red blood cells because you're fatiguing out, which is causing lack of oxygen, which is leading towards dizziness. Number five, nausea. This can happen with the spleen as well. I'm not going to say too much on that. Abdominal pain, especially in the left upper quadrant. So the left upper over here is where your spleen is. The right upper is where your liver is. Okay, so if you're getting pain up in this region over here, someone gets in a car accident, motorcycle crash, or something like that, and they get their spleen lacerated, it's going to be on this side. Number seven, chronic conditions. This is huge. So again, any type of chronic condition, I'm always looking to see how can I help the spleen out. So any autoimmune condition, you're thinking Hashimoto's. For thyroid, you're thinking lupus. You're thinking Sjogren's. You're thinking Crohn's and colitis and all these other things that are borderline autoimmune. Some are classified as autoimmune. Mono. So the infection mono, people get enlarged spleens because their spleen is trying to work really hard. So any chronic condition, you have to start thinking spleen. Whenever I've ever had some strange case where someone comes in, I had a case once where a young girl had swollen ankles. Very big ankles. She couldn't wear shoes that she wanted to wear, and it turns out that it was her spleen. You just never would guess that, but it turns out it was her spleen. We started to correct her spleen and give her body what it needed to help the spleen out. Ankles shrunk right up, and she was able to buy shoes that she had wanted to buy for years for the first time ever, and she was very, very excited for that. So any chronic condition, anything strange, you've got to be thinking spleen. drlarsen.com is my website. If you want to learn more, go ahead and head on over there, watch some more videos, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon.